Chapter 6, Maxie. When I get home after school, my whole house smells like chicken and dumplings. Grandma, that sure smells good, I say, and I'm real glad my grandma likes to baby me, after all. How was school, she says. Was your teacher mad you were late? Not really, I say, trying not to meet her eye. It's best not to talk about anything else that happened today, especially the part about back-talking my teacher. Now, about this morning, Maxie, I really think you ought to give your daddy's friend a chance. Who knows, maybe you might decide that Grandma, I'm going to say hello to my mama now, I say, cutting her off. If there's anything I don't want to do right now, it's talk about someone named Lisa. My grandma's face gets real soft for a second, but she didn't say nothing, just reaches her hand out to touch my chin. Sure, baby. In my room, I have a little corner that is just my mother. First, I have some pictures of her, all standing up in frames. I have her watch and her rings in a little glass dish that was hers, and a bottle of her favorite Prince Machiavelli perfume that my father said I can start wearing when I get old enough. My mom died in a car accident 3 years ago. I was with her in the car, but I don't remember anything about it. All I remember was waking up in the hospital. At first, they didn't tell me what happened, but then they did. I was 7 and she was 38. I pick up my favorite picture of her. It's the one of us together when I was a baby in the hospital. She looks tired and sweaty from having me, and her hair is all messed, but her face looks so happy. I wish I could remember that day. Hi, Mama, I say, and I think about telling her the bad news, that my daddy has a new girlfriend maybe. But then I don't want to, because if my mother knew something like that, maybe she wouldn't come back to me. I know it's a stupid thing to think about. I know it's never really going to happen. But sometimes I still like to imagine what it would be like if my mother came back. Maybe I'd be sitting around watching TV and I'd hear a knock at the door. When I open it, it'll be her. Or one day I might be riding around on the train and the lady next to me will smile and it'll be my mama's smile. I just had to see you, baby, she'll say, because I missed you so much. I missed you more, Mama, I'd tell her. I miss you so much. Sometimes it hurt. Maxie, my grandma calls from the other room. I got a surprise for you. When I come home in a sad mood, there's nothing that can get me out of it except one thing, sitting by my grandma's big leg, watching TV and eating popcorn. But I would never tell my grandmother that. There's no telling how she would lord something like that over me. I think maybe she knows anyway, because when I go into the living room, there's my grandma sitting on the couch with a big bowl of popcorn on her lap. She even gives me the clicker. Now don't eat too much popcorn, she says. I don't want you to spoil your appetite. I'm just about to switch to Nickelodeon when the newscaster comes on to say, now we'll be hearing from our foreign correspondent in Kosovo. Hey, I say, there's a girl in my class that comes from there. Well, for goodness sake, turn it up, she says. I have to say, what we see next is kind of a shock to me, because it looks like that place where Drita comes from is nothing but a war. The camera just keeps showing a lot of people running and buildings falling down and babies crying. Then they show some kind of marketplace where a bomb went off and some people lying on the ground look like they're dying. And that's when my grandmother takes the clicker from my hand. I think that's plenty of TV for tonight, she says. Dang, Grandma, it's not going to upset me. I've seen worse stuff than that on MTV, I say. Don't curse. I just said dang. Well, don't say it. It sounds like cussing, she says. And I can tell there's no arguing with her. When my grandma makes up her mind about something, you just can't change it. She pulls herself up off the couch and goes into the kitchen, shuffling her feet across the rug in her old, broken-down nurse's shoes. My grandma always complains she's got bad feet from almost 30 years of working as the head nurse at Roosevelt Hospital. That's why I saved up $12 at Christmas time to buy her a nice cushy pair of slippers. Only problem is, she never wears them. Secretly, I think she likes those funky old nurse shoes better. Don't worry, baby. I'm saving those new moccasins you gave me for a special occasion, she says, winking at me. My grandma and me are about as close as we can be, and in a lot of ways we're just the opposite. For one thing, she always thinks the things you see on TV are going to stay in your mind for a long time and ruin your brain. I think the things you see on TV hardly stay in your mind at all, and might even make you smarter. But tonight it seems like she's right after all, because I can't stop thinking about that news show all the way through the homework time and then during dinner, so that I hardly taste my dumplings. Finally, when I'm in bed, Grandma comes in to shut the light off. Grandma, I made fun of her, I say when it's nice and dark. Who, baby? My grandma says. That girl from Kosovo. But I'm not going to do it again. Is that why you got in trouble with your teacher? She says. I swear, Grandma, you got ESP powers. How'd you know that? Well, my baby comes home telling me everything was fine. I know it means no such thing. I'm glad you're so smart, Grandma. And I'm glad you learned your lesson, honey. You always got to be kind to people. Always. That's what your mama would want. Now sleep tight, she says, and shuts the door. I roll over on my side. Behind my eyes, I see flashes of orange. Looks like bombs dropping, and I know my grandmother is right. Good night, Mama, I say. Good night.